How's it going, everyone? I've got some more Tribes Ascend for you today, as has become the custom on my channel. Today I am revisiting the Juggernaut class because, well, mostly because the first video that I put out of Juggernaut was something that I recorded and uploaded about a week after I had started playing this game, so, well, let's just say that I didn't exactly know what I was talking about in a lot of ways. So I was saying things like, when you're playing Juggernaut, the best thing to do is camp the enemy's generator room. Which is not really true, as you probably know if you're fairly good at this game. So I wanted to get up another video, and, you know, talk about what this class should actually be used for. And I got some pretty decent gameplay here as well, so kill two birds with one stone, I suppose. In this game, I actually ended up getting 4 blue plate specials, which, for those who don't know, that's a direct hit with a spin fuser type weapon. There's one of them right now. It's a direct hit while the opponent's in the air, which isn't exactly an easy thing to do. You know, you can get fairly good at it, but getting one of those is always kind of a ooh moment, you know. Anyways, Juggernaut. So what are you as Juggernaut? As Juggernaut, you're basically heavy artillery kind of class. This is a class that you have access to by default when you just sign up for the game and start playing. You're equipped with some fairly hard-hitting weapons. You've got the fusion mortar or the MIRV launcher, depending on which one you're using, which are essentially for bombarding the enemy's flag stand or structures from long range. These things do massive amounts of damage, but they're not particularly useful in one-on-one combat because they take a while to actually explode after they're fired. However, if you do launch them from like the top of a hill, rain down on your opponent, sort of like that guy up there is doing, it can be quite effective. And it's probably most useful for, as I said, bombing the enemy flag stand, or your own flag stand, like that. If you time it just right, the opponent will actually fly into the blast right as they're coming in for the grab, so that can be pretty useful. Now, the early part of this match, I pretty much focused on defense, and the later part, I started focusing on offense, so you get to see a little bit of both here. The Juggernaut is actually a lot more versatile of a class than you might think at first glance. Your secondary weapon is a spin fuser or a light machine gun, which is an unlockable weapon. I've just recently acquired that, and it's pretty good if used in combination with another weapon, but that's a subject for another video. As far as the spin fuser goes, I would recommend getting the newer spin fuser. I think it's called the Mach X spin fuser, or Mark X. It does a little bit more damage than the standard one, in exchange for a little bit of the splash damage range. So, a little bit less radius, a little bit more damage. But honestly, a little bit less radius isn't going to be that big a deal once you've gotten fairly proficient with spin fuser. So I would go for that and just, you know, practice your aim with it. Other than that, you've got grenades, which, like the soldiers' grenades, do quite a bit of damage. They do about 1,000, I believe, like 1,050 or something like that. So that's actually enough to kill a light class in one shot, or wipe a medium class pretty far down. Probably the best way to do it is to throw these behind you as you're being chased. And if you time them right, the enemy should run right into them. It's a very, very effective sort of weapon. Also, there's a spin fuser disc that you can get as a belt item, which essentially is like a spin fuser disc, as I said, but you throw it instead of shooting it out of a spin fuser, which is fairly silly, but basically it means that you get almost like an extra spin fuser shot, which is pretty awesome. But as I said, that's a subject for another video. So what do you use this class for? Well, as I said, it's a fairly versatile class. Probably your primary objective as this class is going to be to bomb the enemy flag stand. Especially if the enemy has a lot of defenses built up, classic spree. You know, for instance, they've got a lot of shields, mines, light turrets, and that sort of thing. What you're probably going to want to do, there's another blue plate. what you're probably going to want to do is use that mortar launcher to, you know, wipe out the enemy's defenses as best you can, so that your cappers have a little bit of a better chance to actually get in there. You know, there's nothing more frustrating than playing Pathfinder and having no support on the enemy's flag stand, because you really can't do much of anything in that case. So that's probably your primary objective. Juggernaut also works fairly well for defense, as I said a minute ago, sort of showed, I suppose. If you time the mortar shots just right, you can actually nail the people as they come in. Meaning that, as I said, you're pretty good defensively. Not as good as, say, a Doombringer, but if you already have a Doombringer, you know, throwing a Juggernaut on your flag, it's not a bad idea. Juggernaut is also a lot better at combat than you might think he would be. This is mostly because of, well, compared to the other heavy classes, you actually have quite a bit of energy, and you weigh a little bit less, so you can get a little bit more momentum. What this means is that, you know, your high HP combined with your, for a heavy class, pretty good mobility. With that, you can surprise a lot of people with how effective you'll be in one-on-one combat. You know, a lot of soldiers will come in, Pathfinders, thinking they can just run circles around you, when in fact, if you play it right, you can take them out pretty easily. Now, the Spinfuser that you have doesn't do a lot of damage. It does less damage than the Soldier Spinfuser. It does under 1,000. So you're going to need, and that's under 1,000 on a direct hit, so you're going to need to hit someone a few times with it to take him out. However, it's a Spinfuser, right? So it's a pretty effective weapon nonetheless. And you can definitely hold your own against, say, Brutes, for example, who, although their Spinfuser does massive amounts of damage, they don't have the mobility or the energy that you do. Now, what you don't want to do is get caught up in the sort of team deathmatch mindset that a lot of people get stuck in. That applies to any class, really, but especially Juggernaut, it seems like a lot of new people especially will just sort of lurk in the midfield and rack up kills. And again, if you're playing Capture the Flag, it's a team game, right? There are things that you can do that are helpful, and there are things that you can do that are more helpful. You know, killing the enemies repeatedly is helpful to your team, because then the enemies have to respawn, but it's not like there are a limited number of respawns, right? And killing people in the midfield doesn't actually accomplish anything, so probably what you want to do is have some sort of objective in mind if you're going to do this sort of thing. So if I'm going to lurk the midfield as Juggernaut, I'm going to lurk in the path that I know the cappers take, right? So that I can get a hit on the cappers, so that I can, you know, disrupt their routes, make them think twice about going that way. Or I'm going to go and hang out in our route, so I know our Pathfinder always takes the bottom route. Well, maybe I'll hang out in the bottom route, and then as people are trying to chase, I will go ahead and kill them, or at least discourage them from continuing on that path. There's blue plate number 3. So that's pretty much what you want to be doing if you're going the combat route. As I've said, in this match, you get to see a little bit of defense and a little bit of offense. Our team had a pretty good hold on the whole clear the flag stand beforehand, so I wasn't really needed, but there are some matches where if you're playing Juggernaut, you're going to need to be doing that 100% of the time. You know, just go in and continually bomb the enemy flag stand. And if you're well coordinated with a Pathfinder, you can coordinate your mortar shots so that right as you fire and the shot is coming down, your Pathfinder swoops in unnoticed. So that's always a good thing. What else is there to say about this class? Not too much, honestly. I find that a lot of times you can take people off guard, at least in combat. Spoiler alert, right here I'm going to die because I was trying to go in and support our flag capper, but 4-on-1 doesn't typically work out too well when you're a heavy class. I think I managed to get a hit on each of these people, but don't quite manage the kill. It's alright, it happens. Anyways, I found that you can take people off guard a lot of times as Juggernaut because, well, because it is a class that's unlocked by default and a class that a lot of new people use, you know, because they expect, oh, it's a heavy class, it should be easy to use. A lot of people will sort of underestimate you. So, like I said, you'll have the Pathfinders and the soldiers coming in, thinking, oh, I can take this guy out, no problem, and if you just sort of manage your energy and your spin fuser shots pretty well, you can surprise a lot of people and end up taking him out. You'll see right here, this brute really didn't stand a chance, just because of how much more mobility I have in him. You know, even though he only had to hit me, say, 3 times to my 5 or 6, just way more effective at dodging. Okay, so now you're going to see me go on a little bit more of an offensive role, I suppose. This is a great kill right here, by the way. This is sort of what I was talking about earlier. If you time it just right, kaboom. So always keep an eye on those grenades. One thing I haven't talked about, I know. I haven't talked about perks. What perks do you want to use on Juggernaut? For Juggernaut, what I would recommend is probably some perks that are just generally good no matter what. For primary perk, I would recommend Safety Third. This is a perk that it basically raises the number of grenades you can carry by 1. So normally, you know, you can hold, what, 2 grenades. Safety Third gives you 3, and that may not seem like a big deal, but it actually kind of is. That guy just killed himself by firing a spin fuser at me and blowing himself up. Because your grenades are so powerful, it's generally a pretty good idea to have an extra one. And that's a general rule for all classes, honestly. If you're looking for a perk to get, that's a good one to look at. Another one you can use for your secondary perk, and this is what I definitely recommend, is the Survivalist perk. What this basically does is makes it when you pick up enemy ammo drops, or friendly ammo drops for that matter, you recover a little bit of HP. And in addition to that, when you get to the final upgrade, you will actually recover a little bit of energy as well, which is actually like 40% or something like that. Basically this means that if you have, say, 2 people going for you, you can kill the one and then take his resupply and essentially be completely ready to take on the next person. In particular, the energy boost is incredibly useful, especially for other classes like Infiltrator and such. Basically making it so that you can, I think blue plate number 4 is coming up right here. Zing! There it is. Essentially, you know, making it so that you can stay cloaked indefinitely as long as you keep killing people, but it's very useful as Juggernaut as well. So those are the 2 I would recommend. The other ones can work pretty well, but Safety Third and Survivalist, generally a good bet as any class. So you can see right here, I'm starting to kind of get drawn into the team deathmatch mindset here. Out of spin fuser shots, so as I've said before, never be afraid to just run away, you know. This is capture the flag, not team deathmatch. It's not a competition to see who can get the most kills. If you need to run away, just run. Anyways, this is about it. I'm gonna get the final capture right here. Take a look at the final score, and hope you guys enjoyed this one. I'll be doing at least one more video of Juggernaut because I want to show off the combo of the spin fuser disc and light machine gun, which is a fairly awesome thing. But until then, I hope you guys enjoyed watching, and I will see you next time. There it is. Let's just take a look at the final score really quick. 20 kills, 1 death. Not too bad. 4 blue plate specials, so pretty cool. Anyways, I will see you guys next time. Later.